It turns out that Yorkshire is the UK's hotspot for supposed UFO activity, with over 200 encounters being reported there in the past 2 decades. More shockingly still, between March and April 2020 alone the county saw 192 UFO reports, a 200% increase on the year before. The most recent sighting came on June 9 this year in Leeds, when 2 thin, black and curved elongated triangles were seen flying above and then stopped in midair at around 12:55 a.m., reports Yorkshire Live. Local paranormal investigator Brian, from Exploring the Unknown, claims HES stumbled across several UFOs when exploring abandoned buildings at night. He explained, "They're drawn to Yorkshire due to the peak we're at height-wise in comparison with other parts of the country. Plus, our wide open spaces and old abandoned, disused military bases. There are hundreds of abandoned bases, bunkers, RAF flight tracks and all sorts. A lot of these locations aren't fully known by people as they are well hidden. Primarily these locations are used by urban explorers or paranormal enthusiasts for videos, or those who celebrate the history and believe in UFOs." Brian claims that just a few weeks ago his team spotted 4 UFOs in one night, which couldn't have been commercial flights because they were flying in the same path directly next to each other. Ellen Dean lives in the village of Fearby, and says she witnessed mysterious lights in her own back garden back in March 2020 when reports were starting to spike. "I was amazed and intrigued," she said. "I wanted to know more about them. What they were, if they were some kind of aircraft flying low from the RAF station. Or maybe Chinese lanterns, but they weren't. I live in a village so there isn't any light pollution." Ash Ellis is the mastermind behind UFO Identified, a website that collates sightings and examines data to publish UFO reports. He has been interested in UFOs since his first encounter at just 10 years old. "I started researching it more seriously, first becoming an investigator for the British UFO Research Association, BUFORA, and then setting up my own website and research group," he explained. Ash thinks that, because of Yorkshire's many military bases, there can be a lot of unusual lights which the public report as UFOs. He added, "There's also a rich history of UFOs being sighted around military and nuclear installations, so if there is an intelligence visiting us, they may be particularly interested in our weapons and technology." The cliffs around Bempton and Flamborough Head have long been known as a UFO hotspot and this is continuing today. He was keen to note that UFO doesn't necessarily mean alien, but rather something that is currently unidentified. The extraterrestrial hypothesis, meaning that it could be an alien craft, is just one theory amongst many explaining any given UFO. "My job as an investigator is to methodically rule out many mundane, and down-to-earth, explanations. I would love to find the one report that is truly unidentifiable, but so far, I've not investigated a case that hasn't been found to have an earthly explanation," he concluded.